Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Airing It Out podcast. Thank you for joining us. Now, at long last, the long-awaited final instalment of the Dave Corbyn interview, episode number 3, we have it here for you today. I know it's taken a while, and unfortunately it's only in audio format, okay for you podcast listeners, or listeners on Spotify. But you know what? I'm just grateful to have it. I'm grateful that we can share it with you, because it would have been such a shame if we couldn't give to you, if we couldn't not only give Dave the platform to talk and to share his story, but we could then not be able to give that to you. So, to give you a recap, Dave and I have been talking about who he is, where he's come from, and how he's become the man he is today. But we've also been going over hypothetical situations and how we can use his knowledge and experience to safeguard for the people around us. And in this episode we look at equality and diversity and the broader meaning of that, not just the stereotypical meaning of what it is, but we also look at allyship, something that wasn't so familiar with me but is actually very important in representing different parties. And stick around for the end, because I would say that probably without a doubt the ending of the Dave Corbyn interview is my single most favourite moment of the podcast so far. It was magic. Okay, so without further ado, here's Dave Corbyn.
Let's see how we can support you to get through this. A bit like the weather today, where we've had downpours of rain, and if you thought that was going to be happening every day of your life, you're never going to want to go out. But what we do know, the sun's going to shine.
Yes, it is.
So when the sun comes out, we can all make do. So rain is part of life. We get through it, and then the sun will shine. Yeah. So sometimes those problems you're going through, a bit like a heavy storm, they're going to come. They come to everybody. Yeah. But sitting through it, it'll bring the sunshine again.
I like to think that you don't appreciate the sun quite as much without the rain.
True. You have to experience the tough times to make the benefits of the good times, to make sure the good times are as good as they are. And you make use of them. Like I said, went to the Isle of Wight yesterday. It wasn't a brilliant day, but it wasn't raining. And we went around the whole island in a day. And I just think that taking opportunities like that, building opportunities to do things like that, we can all do. They don't cost a lot.
Okay. So we've helped somebody. We've been there for them. Seen they're in distress. Been an active listener. Talk to me about what it means to become an ally.
Yeah, I suppose working in equality, diversity and inclusion for the length of time that I have, I've seen all the different reiterations of the language. Yeah. Equal opportunities, equality and diversity. Now it's equality, diversity and inclusion, and even people saying inclusion, diversity, equality, diversity and inequalities. So, there's just so many different languages around it. What does it cover? Well, I think the thing is that, I intimated earlier, it's not just about black and white. There's so many other areas of discrimination that we have woven into our society that sometimes you don't know it until it hits you. So improvements around banking for people who have hearing loops.
Okay.
So if you go to a cash point machine, there's a button you can press that will connect to your ear, and then you'll know how to access your money. So that was never a thing before. Yeah. People who couldn't see couldn't actually get to a cash point machine and use it.
Right. Wow.
When they became so prevalently used for everybody. Using a telephone, talk, speech, and having things, typed speech, things like that being introduced. Civil marriages, civil partnerships and marriages now being introduced for the LGBT plus community. The development of more and more low-level interventions around mental health. Critical to keep developing those. I think discrimination, institutional discrimination, where organisations, sadly, like the police force, like the ambulance service, like the fire service, like the NHS, like the armed forces, those things historically have been challenged and quite rightly challenged. But sadly, the cases are still coming around.
Yeah.
Some of those are historical, some of them are more recent. But those types of things happening, and everyone always says when they happen, how did that happen? How did that happen? My experience of the police when I was younger wasn't the best.
Right, yeah.
Being a young black male. And I would have thought that here I am now, all those years later, that those types of things now wouldn't be happening. So when I see the stories coming out now about the security checks that have failed to identify people who are in the police force who've committed crimes, or who commit crimes and are allowed to carry on and work, I'm like, how is that still happening? So we've still got a long way to go to try and stop and encourage processes where those types of events become less and less and less and less and less.
Yeah.
I just think the whole way systems have developed over time have allowed that to happen. And unless we unpick the systems and put in place new systems that are going to stop that from happening, they're just going to continue to happen. I just don't think, all the time that I've been working in the role that I've been working in, I step away and I look back and I think I see the same things being said and needed to be done, but they yet haven't been done. And I don't know why that's the case. I think that's way above my pay grade as to why sometimes that has never been corrected. Because we know what the need is.
Yeah.
And the need will increase. I think COVID, sadly, put additional pressure on all of our mental health services in a way which they were never designed to do. They were struggling before. So a bit like a doctor fixing your leg. You've got a splint on, your leg's fixed, they take the splint off, you now need rehab.
Okay.
We had COVID, which highlighted that a lot of people would need mental health. COVID has gone to a lesser degree than it was before. We need mental health services.
Yeah.
We need to be putting in those in order to deal with the legacy of what that's caused. We can't dismiss it. We can't say, "Oh, it's gone now."
We've completed it. No.
Yeah. So my broken leg, all my muscles have all withered away. I need a course of physio now to rebuild myself. That was putting the physio in place. So we need to do that. But the longer we and don't deal with it, then I think the worse the situation will become. Because you're just leaving people out there to their own devices to try and overcome this issue that has been developed because of what they had around COVID.
I didn't know what you meant by allyship when you mentioned it in the email.
I think also around allyship, if you want to become an ally, if I wanted to become an ally for people with disabilities, go and talk to people with disabilities.
Okay.
If I want to become an ally of people with mental health, who work with mental health, put yourself in a position where you can understand what it's like to have mental health.
Yeah.
If you want to know what it's like to be black and from London, with parents from the Caribbean, come talk to me.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how do you know? How can you represent me in a conversation if you don't really know what it's like to be me? And I think that's really, really important for people who want to become allies for people, I had to go and learn about autism when I was working with people with autism. And the first thing I did was go and find someone with autism and say, oh, tell us about what's it like you living with autism. And they told me everything, and the first thing they said was, you know, and if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. But not all the same.
Yeah.
So, you know, putting that collective cover over everybody isn't always helpful until you go and speak to people and find out about it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be an ally, again, you're not an ally for yourself. You're an ally on behalf of other people. Okay. So I've worked with the deaf community, went and engaged with them, went and spent time with them, speaking to them. What are their challenges? What do they find hard? What are the things that they feel we need to do better? And I think the comment from them was, we are the people that can't hear, and you are the people that are not listening.
Ooh, wow.
So unless you have those conversations with people,
you're not going to know these things.
You're not going to know these things. And around equality, diversity and inclusion, it's no longer a case of the policymakers designing and delivering on things that impact on everybody else.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be engaging and coordinating and working in cooperation with people that need it, so that when they deliver it, it meets the needs of everyone that it's meant to. It's no good designing something, putting it all together, putting it all in place, and then when you deliver it, it completely misses the mark for your target audience who are meant to be getting it. And I think some companies are getting better at doing that. There's still some that feel they know better. Yeah. Maybe because they're employed they feel that they're employed to make those decisions at the very top, and therefore, you know, their decisions are the ones that are the best ones. But invariably, if they do that, you'll end up with a product which doesn't meet the customer or the target audience you're aiming it for. So, being an ally in those spaces.
It's about knowing those people.
And I suppose the challenge is that the higher you go up in organisations, and this is another thing that I was really keen on, is looking at the data and the numbers around that. Looking at the very top of organisations, how many of those people in the very top of organisations who are making those decisions are people with mental health issues? Yeah. Are people with autism? Are people from the LGBT community? Are people from black and ethnic minority groups? Well, if they're not there, then it's up to the people who are there to make themselves an ally for the people who they're working for and working and dealing with. I love that. And I think there is a more and more of a push. And don't feel that because you don't know about a particular subject that I'm useless, that I've done anything wrong. It's about what steps are you going to take now to try and to find out about it. Okay. What are you going to do to go and read up about, I don't know, there's a lot of work going on at the moment around maternity and the experiences of women through maternity. Right. And a lot of men would say, well, that's nothing to do with me. That's women's, that's all women's stuff. Don't want to get involved. No. Yeah, how can you be an ally for women in that space if you haven't got an understanding of what it's like for them to go through that? Yeah. And so it's about, you know, becoming an active ally. Learning. Not sitting back and expecting someone else to come and do the learning for you. You've got to do the learning for yourself. Yeah. And how do you access those groups? How do you find out about it? Where do you do your reading? What are your sources that you're looking at? Are they all viable, or are they things part of the problem? Part of the problem. That's where you're getting your information from. So fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So, say that we've allied ourselves with a particular group. We've seen that somebody is experiencing stress and declining mental ill health. We've had a difficult conversation to approach them, and we've actively listened to what it is that's going on. Talk to me then about signposting, what it is, how would we do it, and where would we start for this person? Yeah, we kind of touched on that as well. I think part of becoming an ally is knowing what's out there, what's available. And also, not just what's available, but what are the processes involved in people getting involved in that? What would they offer to an individual? Because it can be quite easy sometimes to think, actually, oh, you've got mental health problems. What you need to do is go and join this particular group. And actually, that's...
One size doesn't fit all.
Doesn't fit all. Completely wrong. So how do you know, how can you test that what you are hearing from the individual and what you are signposting them to are going to be right? And sometimes it could be a case of hand holding, that I'll come with you.
Yeah.
I'll come pick you up and I'll take you over there and I'll sit with you for the whole session, see how it goes. And if it isn't what you want, then let's try and find something else. So there are lots of professional groups. There are lots of charities out there that offer services. And I think the thing is that the more knowledge you have around all of those, the better you're able to signpost and know what people want. So but you've got to take your lead from the individual you're speaking to. They will say to you, I want to get out more. Yeah. I'm not getting out enough. I know they do a nature walk every Monday, just round the corner. But do you fancy going and doing that? Oh, don't know. They're not going to want me there. Well, I'll come with you. I'll come with you. I'll lead you to the group. Let's see. And if it is what you want to do, then maybe next time you can go on your own. Maybe they'll offer someone to come pick you up and take you there. So you won't know until you find out. So it's those sort of things that you need to do with signposting. It isn't the case that you don't let go of the reins until they say, I don't need you anymore. Which I don't think people ever do. No one's ever said that to me. But you may not, you may go from a once a week connection to once a month to once every 3 months to once every 6 months, maybe twice a year. The intensity of it needs to be in line with the situation that you're dealing with. Yeah. But I think, signposted, knowledge about that is really important.
Just help to know.
And there are many, many websites that you can go on, and lots of different places. And sometimes, give them a ring. They're not going to shut you down just by you phoning them up.
Exist.
Phone them up and say, look, I've got someone who I've been speaking to. They're thinking about accessing your services. What sort of things do you do? How long does it take? What do they need to do to get involved?
I don't think there's any shame or not humility. I don't think there's any shame whatsoever in saying, I don't think I can help. I can't handle you with this one. I'm not qualified to do this. I don't have it in my vocabulary to do what I need to do. Let's go have a look at who else is there.
And I suppose that, when you're hearing all of these things coming to you, if somebody gives you an indication that they are close to doing something that's going to hurt themselves or hurt other people, don't sit with that. His numbers, his phone numbers to call, and people you can put them in touch with straight away in order to in order to get the right support in place.
Yeah.
You're not a counsellor. You're someone who's interested in supporting someone. Is the most important thing. So don't start
knowing what you're capable of.
Know your limitations.
You can provide.
Know your limitations and everything else. And there are lots of qualified people out there that if you then contact them and support, they can do. And those numbers are sure on your website as well. So,
if you were to shout out 3 different companies, organisations, or charities, who would be at the top of your list?
Depends. I think it depends. So I think if suicide prevention would be up there with crikey. Oh, what are they called? Oh, Samaritans. There you go. It's going. Samaritans, but depending, because they do some very good work and they will sit and they will talk and they're all trained in order to navigate those through. I suppose there is always the 999 for anything that's imminent. If if the emergency is life threatening, I would suggest that it isn't your role in supporting people to put yourself at danger.
Yeah.
By trying to get in the way of that, but you can signpost those. And I suppose for me, one which is really key is any of the veteran supports that are out there.
Yeah.
I think just by the nature of being in the forces, talking about mental health is still got a stigma.
I can imagine, yeah.
Where people wouldn't want to show their vulnerabilities at all. And therefore, there's a lot more needed to be able to be done to signpost people or to get those people to the support they need. And in my experience, many of the people who are veterans who require access to mental health services are at the more critical stage of their thinking and planning around what's going on for them. And therefore the response needs to be a bit quicker, I think, around that. But anything around veteran support. Not too far away from here, we've got I wouldn't say it was a retreat, we've got it's a outward bound centre, which is for veterans.
Oh wow.
And they can go and they can sit and they can talk. And they had a sleepover at the weekend to raise money. And but it's something that occasionally ex-forces people just need to go away and sit in the woods, drink beer, light a fire, and eat round a campfire and stuff like that, because it's been so much of what they've done. But they've also opened up that particular service to the police, to ambulance services, to schools, to universities, who want to take groups out there to go and experience it themselves. So, but I just think there's, again, a variety of different things that you can signpost people to, and it's knowing where to pitch it in order to get the best outcome for the individual is really, really important. But yeah, top three, Samaritans definitely, police, and any of the veteran support groups that are national, but they have local groups as well.
Brilliant. So talk to me a little bit about self-care, self-love.
Yeah. I think after today I'll probably need a bit of self-care myself.
It's not been that bad, is it?
No. It's just I think when you talk about you talk about situations and you talk about things that you've experienced, you actually partially relive some of that yourself.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So you're putting yourself back through those situations. When I talk about being at the bottom, I can actually, in my mind's eye, I can envision myself at the bottom of that. But I'm not there now. So self-care. I suppose the thing that I would say is to find something that you enjoy doing and people you enjoy doing it with, and go do it. So I enjoy being around my family. I enjoy drinking rum.
Nice.
Some people say extensively, but not. I wouldn't say that. I enjoy playing dominoes, which is something I picked up from my dad and his family. I enjoy walking. I enjoy being with my wife. And sometimes a little cuddle is all you need. I'm a big hugger. I'm a big hugger. I love a big hug. You've noticed that. So my self-care is, one, I'm honest with myself about how I'm feeling.
Oh wow, yeah, okay.
One of the courses that I went on was about being conscious about how you feel, and that's really reaching into your stomach and saying, this is how I'm feeling today. I mean, you shared something with me last time that we met, and I thought, well, that's great that you could share that, because that is the reality of how you're feeling. So don't deny that. I mean, I think sometimes denying that and pushing that away can actually only make things worse. I think also, if you can find some way of offloading what you're experiencing as well, without again breaking confidentiality or trust. I'm going to share something with you now. I can't tell you where it's come from, but I want to be able to share this with you, just so that I know that I've shared it with someone else, and I'll tell you what I've done. How do you feel? Do you think I've done the right thing? Have I gone the right way with this? Is there anything else?
It's problem shared, it's problem heart.
that's really, really important. And if you can find professional groups that you're linked into to do that, then do that. But at the end of the day, I think, that honesty with yourself about how you're really feeling or how things have really landed. I didn't say anything to anyone about losing my friend yesterday.
Okay.
Until I told you. In fact, I told my wife this morning.
Yeah.
I said I felt as though it took the wind out of my sails.
Yeah.
Hearing that he'd passed away.
Yeah.
And I just think that's honesty. Because I could just not say anything to anyone and just kept it in here and walked around with it for the rest of the day, but no one would know. How would anybody know that I might be a little bit down if I hadn't been able to share that with them?
I think there's a difference between, I was just thinking about it in my head, I think there is a difference between saying something because it's in you and you could do with getting it out and being ready to say it, because sometimes even when you're not ready to say something, getting it out stops it kind of manifesting.
Well, it just grows, it gets bigger.
Yeah, so taking that deep breath and being...
Okay. And then once you've done it and I get the response like I got from you, I'm like, well, I'm right for feeling the way I am. I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's not an abnormal feeling to go through.
Feelings aren't ashamed. Aren't something to be ashamed of.
No.
So what would it look like if we all did self-love? If we all practiced self-care?
I think humanity.
Yeah.
Humanity, if we are all looking out for each other and we're all engaging and talking with each other, a lot of the things that you're seeing that are happening at the moment don't happen. They just don't happen. Because I don't wish you any harm. I don't want you any harm. I want you to succeed. I want you to flourish. I want you to grow. I want you to have a good life. And if that means that you want to go off and, climb mountains or fly planes, good on you. Then great. That's brilliant. And if I'm not feeling that good, then I think, again, my wife hates this, that when I meet people, when I come into contact with people, I talk. I know my brother does the same. I know something my dad always did whenever we were out, whenever people, he'd always be able to engage with people around us and have conversations.
Yeah.
And when he came back, my mum would say, well, who was that? He said, I don't know, I've just met them.
My dad's like that, yeah.
So being able, I think, to break the ice and engage with people without, they're not here to hear my life story. I want to talk about them, maybe, if they want to answer, they may well answer.
Interaction.
Yeah, it's just that interaction. And if you can make that a positive interaction and see other people's human beings with mums, dads, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, cousins, we don't end up with all the strife we've got going on at the moment. I think there's too many people who...
Too many differences.
Just don't understand or don't take it in upon themselves to have any role to play in making things different. It's
identifying with what makes you different rather than what makes us the same.
And I think we've got far more of the same going on in our lives, all at different stages, all at different levels, and I think it's just a case of being real about that.
Something that I always would like to try and convey is, if we're in a shit mood, if we're in a good mood, whether we're doing well at the moment, whether we're doing this, that, if you've got experience, you don't experience, we're all human.
Yes, we're humans.
That's what it boils down to.
So I really struggle sometimes when I hear what some humans have done to other humans.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
You don't want to identify with those kind of people.
No. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I would go out of my way to help anybody, to do anything for anybody if I could do. And I know sometimes that people are not willing and don't want to open up to other people. That's their choice.
Yeah. They may not be ready.
No, it may not be ready. It may not be the time for that. Or because of previous experiences, they may find that even more challenging for that to happen. Then that's fine. That's fine. I'm not that pushy. Force me way through the door. Come on, let's get you sorted. I just think it's something that my outlook is that of a positive way of dealing with things is to, if anyone approaches me, if I get the chance to speak to anyone, that's the approach I will take.
Yeah, lovely. So I've got a couple more questions before we finish with the positive stuff.
Okay.
What if you had to say, being here today, being able to communicate something to an audience, what would your message to them be?
You're not alone.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is you're not alone. What you're experiencing and what you're going through are happening to lots of other people around you, and they and you can gain from those experiences, learn from those experiences. So don't sit in isolation. Don't feel that you're the only person that's going through that, and just reach out, and there will be someone there to help you. There will be someone there to help you, and at a pace that I'm always worried sometimes that I'm going to reach out and someone's going to drag me 100 miles an hour at the back of a horse. But it's never like that. It's sometimes very slow moving and really, really progressive, that you get from the position that you're in to a position of safety and a position where you feel comfortable. And if I've done that today for one person to think slightly differently about their situation, or I've encouraged one person to feel, well, actually I can reach out and do something for someone else, I'm over the moon by that. I don't need.
It's all worth it.
Yeah. It all starts off with one person. The movement, everything all starts with one person, and I'm hoping that I'm the one person that I'm bringing difference around that.
It's like when you said with the guy who was not only interested in your work but in you as an individual. You then told me that you went and do that for as many people as you can.
Yeah.
It's infectious.
Yeah.
You see what it does for you and you want to do it for other people.
Yeah. And then I ask other people, why aren't you doing it for the people around you?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing that? Why didn't you ask them the questions? I used to ask the managers in the army, how well do you know your troop? How well do you know the people around you? How well do you know the people who you're going to rely on the most in the most difficult situations? I don't need to know anything about them. I just need to know they can shoot the gun.
Really?
You've got that suss then. So when they say to you, "Oh, my wife's about to give birth to our third baby," how do you respond?
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about that. Get on with the work. Get back to work, etc. Or do you do something else? So I just think that it's an interpersonal skill which is totally invaluable no matter what walk of life you're in. If you get to know your people and you make a connection and they trust you, in tough situations, they're going to be right behind you, right over your shoulder. That's important.
Okay, so we've got some quick fire, happy ending questions.
Okay.
What excites you?
Rum.
Any particular kind? What's your favourite?
Oh, crikey. I'll go with at the moment, I'd go with a Dawley's 2005, which when I first drank at the Rum Festival in London, I've got a bottle put away for a special occasion.
When did you last laugh uncontrollably?
Yesterday.
Really?
Yesterday.
Wow.
We got up on the top deck of the ferry and tried to take a photograph, and I was wearing Elton John big glasses and took a photograph up there, and it was raining, but I just couldn't stop laughing.
Amazing. What are you passionate about?
People. More and more about people. I love sport as well, but you can't do sport without people. So I'm fascinated by people's thinking, and what drives people into doing things that they do, and what would make them change doing things in a certain way and make them do something else.
What's the most valuable lesson you've learned?
We're not here long. We only have a very short time on this earth.
Memento mori.
A very, very short time.
Yeah.
And over your lifespan, I think you're going to meet lots and lots of people.
Yeah.
They won't always remember who you are, but they will remember how you made them feel.
I love that.
So, yeah, that's me.
What pulls you out of the dark?
Knowing I've got people who care for me.
Do you know what one of the guys said when I asked him that question? I interviewed him. Turning on the light. That's what you did.
No, knowing at my darkest, lowest moment when I was really, really at the lowest point that I could ever have been. I think I shared with you I was on the train station at Wool, and I was kind of waiting for the train at 6:30 in the morning to go to London, and things hadn't been good. And I saw the train coming along the line, and I just thought to myself, I could just throw myself in front of that as it approached. And then I don't know what it was, but something came into my mind. I said, who's going to walk my daughter down the aisle when she gets married? Who's going to be there for my son when he gets married? And before I knew it, the train had come and stopped in front of me, the doors opened, and I got on. And I was like, that was a really, really scary thought process to be going through. And in the time it took for the train to appear and I'd come to the platform, I'd gone from jumping in front of it to being conscious that I was now doing something that was going to, long term, be there for my family.
The reason why you're doing it.
The reason why I want to be there. So that was important.
What are the simple things that make you happy?
Can't say run again. Laughing, being with my friends, seeing my friends happy, seeing my family happy. That really hits home. And knowing that I'm part of that with them. I love hearing other people laugh. Sadly, my mum's not here, but when I was a kid, I used to sit on the floor between her legs and occasionally tickle her toes. And she used to laugh. And I used to love hearing that laugh. I wish I could hear it now.
I think you've got an amazing laugh.
Oh.
I said to someone yesterday, he's got such an amazing, lovely laugh on him.
Yeah, I used to love hearing my mum laugh. She was, great woman.
What are you grateful for?
Well, I'm grateful to being here today. I'm grateful to have survived to the age of 64 of all the trauma that I've been through, and I'm still here. When I know that there are so many who I know or have known who are not. So, I think I owe it to them and to me to make the most of this time in a positive way. Absolutely. And that's what I'm going to keep doing.
And what's something that you're proud of?
I suppose, if I'm brutally honest, I was awarded the Long Service and Good Conduct Medal while I was serving in recruiting in London. And my parents, when I first did my pass-off parade in Catterick, my parents had promised to come and they never came. So I was really disappointed that they hadn't seen me in uniform on parade. But when I had my Long Service and Good Conduct Medal, both my parents came. And I had a photograph with them in uniform when I was getting that medal. One of the proudest moments of my life, I think, was to stand there with them from the Windrush generation, round the corner from Buckingham Palace, being awarded the Long Service and Good Conduct Medal. So, very, very proud moment. I've got the photograph at home, which it makes me smile every time I look at it. So very, very proud of that.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
I don't know. You might not want to use this, but you could do. And one of the things that I found is the poem Invictus has been really quite inspirational for me, and I've used it to talk to other people. And it goes something like, out of the dark that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the full flush of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud, and under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the dark finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not what size the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll, I am the captain of my fate. I am the master of my soul.
Okay, that just got better and better. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for knowing it and giving that to other people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here, Dave.
My pleasure.
I'm sure there's so many things that people can take away from this.
I hope
and
so.
everything that you've shared and done.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care, and speak to you again next time. So here we are at the end of the episode. Thank you for sticking around. Hopefully it means that you didn't get too bored if you lasted this long, so we appreciate you staying. Just a reminder, if you did want to stay in touch with what it is that we're doing, you can follow us on our socials and wherever it is that you're hearing this podcast, whether it be YouTube or Spotify. And if you did want to donate to us and help support us keep doing what we're doing, you can find links to the donation page, which is Buy Me a Coffee, on our website and through our link tree on our socials. Thank you again for tuning in. All of the links can be found in the description, and we sincerely hope that you join us for our next episode. Please take care of yourself, and we'll see you again.